Welcome to Getting Sketchy Live, brought to you by thevirtualinstructor.com. And now, let's get sketchy.
Well, hello there, everyone. Matt here with thevirtualinstructor.com. As you saw, a flash of Ashley. And welcome to Getting Sketchy Live, the greatest live broadcast in all of YouTube. This is episode 3 of season 15. And tonight, Ashley will be doing the drawing for us. For those of you who don't know what Getting Sketchy is, well, myself or Ashley, we try to create a drawing for you inside of 45 minutes. We have a timer and everything, and you get to watch us sweat and make mistakes and fix mistakes and do the best we can for you guys inside of 45 minutes. Now, whole point is for your entertainment, of course, but also for you to learn. And hopefully, I know a lot of you do the sketches along with us, or you just watch the live stream and then you go back and do them yourself. That's what you should be doing. Practice is what's going to get you better at drawing and painting. And we've got a great subject tonight that's going to be a challenge for you to practice. But of course, Ashley's doing the drawing tonight. How are you doing this evening, Ashley?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking, Matt. I hope you folks are doing well also. And you saw a flash of me just a moment ago. I was putting my phone on silent so that we are not disturbed while we work on this challenging and hopefully fun subject tonight. We'll go over our materials before we start. And if you've got the same materials, fantastic. And if you have different materials, draw along anyway.
And my phone is always on silent because I don't want to hear from people.
That's a good reason.
It's on vibrate.
Maybe you just don't need a phone.
Yeah.
If you don't want to hear from people, just cancel your plan.
Well, I treat my texts kind of like emails or phone messages, when I get a text. So,
oh, I know.
So I don't.
You get there when you get there.
Right, exactly. And I think that's how text should be.
That's why they were created. They're non-invasive.
Right.
You don't feel like you have to talk at the moment. But some folks get upset if you don't text them right back. Because
I know.
We almost all have our phones close to us.
Right.
Not that they should be all the time, but we've gotten in that habit. So it doesn't bother me, Matt. If you get back to me the next day, it's cool. That's what the text is for.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the youngins. That expect you to return the message immediately. But we're way off topic. Anyway, we're going to be doing the drawing in just a few minutes. Ashley's going to be using a couple of forms of charcoal, and he's actually working on gray paper instead of black paper. So, my bad. I put white charcoal on black paper because that's what I thought we were going to be using, but we're going to be using charcoal in white and black, right?
Right. White and black
charcoal on gray paper. So that'll give you a couple of minutes to get that all in order. If you like this kind of stuff, make sure you subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell so you're notified. And if you're watching the recorded version of this, leave a comment in the section below. And of course, those of you who are watching this live, you can use the chat box to ask questions or post comments. We do ask if you do have a comment or question that's directed specifically at Ashley or I, if you'll put that in all capital letters, and also use the super chat function. Which does cost a little bit of money, but it helps the channel out. And you're here and watching this because you like to draw and paint. And if you haven't checked out what we've got over at thevirtualinstructor.com, you should do that. You can scan the QR code on your screen. Over there, you'll find a ton of drawing and painting courses on a variety of subject matter and media. It's pretty much every media and subject matter that you can imagine. All of these courses and classes are included with the membership program. We do weekly live lessons, weekly critiques as part of the Members Minute. There's also a year-long curriculum for visual arts teachers to go along with all of the other content that's over there. If you want to learn more about the membership program and what we have to offer over at thevirtualinstructor.com, again, there's a link in the description below. You can go check it out. Everyone starts out with a week-long trial for free. Plus, there's a ton of free content over there too. So if you haven't done so already, go over to the Virtual Instructor and check that out. I'm trying to talk faster. I feel like I should be talking faster. So
You're doing a good job.
Talking faster tonight.
That is fast.
My tongue was rolling over itself.
Somebody's trying to change our programming to 0.75 right now just to keep up, but you can't because it's live.
Right. I'm trying to change it to 0.75. I get that now. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go ahead and switch over and get into this one.
Let's do it. All right, there's our subject on the left. It's a fork and a spoon. It's my fork and spoon. It's the only fork and spoon I have. I use them every day. No, not really, but I do use them, and you can probably tell there's some scratch marks on there. That spoon may have been in the garbage disposal once before. And we're working on gray paper. This is Strathmore 400 series paper. It's pretty smooth. There's not a whole lot of a tooth to it, but we're not going to be building up a lot of layers anyway, because this is, in fact, a 45-minute sketch. So it'll take all that we can give it in that amount of time. I do have a kneaded eraser, and I'm going to use see if I can stick this down, and we'll use that as a pencil holder. Our drawing board here in the studio is sloped, so I don't want my pencils to roll away. Speaking of pencil, I'm going to start with an HB. It is a charcoal drawing, but I'm going to go ahead and start with something that's a little more precise and lays down a little bit less material to begin with. So we will start with an HB pencil before switching to a General's charcoal pencil. The charcoal pencil is a 2B, which is considered a medium, and it's still black. You know, all the charcoal pencils are black, but they come in, you know, just like pencils have a designation of HB or 2B all the way up. I think my charcoal pencils are all 2B, 4B, or 6B, and I've chosen the harder of my pencils just so that it stays sharper, a little bit sharper, a little longer, because we do have some small, tight black and white marks to put in. And then I also have, sticking with Generals here, a General's white charcoal pencil, and I don't know why this pencil has a little bit of tape on it. It's athletic. He's got himself taped up. He's ready to go.
It's been working out.
Right. So I hope I don't get down to the tape, or we'll have to peel that off. But I'm pretty sure it's all in one piece. I'm not sure why I put tape on there at some point. But in any case, those three are sharpened and ready to go.
By the way, a quick note here. By popular demand, we are testing out using the camera that you guys all like. Okay. So I have switched the camera, the overhead camera, to the one you all like. So should look a lot better tonight.
Yeah, we think so.
I mean, the other one looked fine.
And
it's
it really does wonders with color artwork.
Right.
So you may get to see that in
contrast.
subsequent weeks, since we're sticking with black and white.
Yeah, the black and
tonight,
white should look good too. Yeah.
You'll be able to tell a difference nonetheless. I do have, besides the kneaded eraser, I have a black Factus 18 eraser, and also we'll probably use the electric eraser a little bit. This electric eraser is, if you're looking for one that's like it, it's missing a collar down here, so it doesn't look like the pictures if you were to find one that looked like this. But I think Matt and I have discerned this is an old white label electric eraser that comes under a lot of names. Whoever purchases 10,000 and puts their name on it gets to sell it. Furthermore, I will be using some stumps tonight, and so I've cleaned these ends. They're relatively clean, so we'll just have to stay away from those. This one's got a little green on it, and that one's blue. But I've got 3 different size stumps, and if they do need a little bit of a cleaning, I do have the General's sandpaper block, and you can see where I was cleaning them off before the program began. So that
you brought all kinds.
I got it all. I got the whole
here.
General's line tonight, it seems. So not intentionally, but it's good stuff. It's good pencils. So that's usually what I order. So that is everything that I'll probably use tonight. I have an eraser shield left over from, I think I might have used it a little bit 2 weeks ago. It was still in my pencil box, but I don't think I'm going to probably break that out tonight. So that's everything. And once again, we will just start with a regular pencil. This is black and white drawing. So if you don't have any pencils, you could draw with a pen and still get a great looking drawing. All right. I think that's, the paper size. My paper size is 7 inches in height by 4.7, or maybe it's closer to 4 3/4 inches wide. So 7 inches tall by 4 3/4 inches wide. So not quite a standard size. 5 by 7 would be standard, and this is just slightly narrower than that. I did take this photograph myself, and I cropped it the way I liked it, and I wasn't really concerned with a standard size when I did that. And it ended up just a little skinnier than a standard. So hope you're okay with that. All right, I think that's it.
I didn't hear anybody say anything.
Okay, good. You can crop your paper however you'd like.
All right.
I think that's it. I would say that the reference is very balanced, because it's almost like a mirror image of the same type of subject, just on a diagonal. So it's an easy way to achieve balance. We've got that really cool little lightning bolt negative shape that travels through or between the two objects, and we'll be checking that to determine if they've landed close to where we want them. So that empty space or that negative space between the fork and the spoon are important, or at least it's important to me. All right, I think that's it.
Yeah, this is a very good composition with lots of challenges in here. This should be a pretty good one here.
I've got a plan, and we'll see how long we stick to the plan.
If somebody wants to know whose hands are reflected in the spoon,
That's me.
it's probably Ashley's.
Yeah, that's me taking the picture in the spoon. And don't know if you'll be able to tell. It's just a couple little light spots with the dark spot underneath it, but that dark spot is my phone. So I took this just with a regular phone camera. Nothing special.
All right. Are you ready for the timer? Or?
Yeah, I think so. We'll go ahead and bring up the timer, and
Okay.
we are going to draw some straight lines just to find the direction or the gesture of our spoon and fork to start, just so you know.
Here comes the timer.
And we're
off. 45
Okay.
minutes.
Very good. I'm going to lean up a little bit, and I know that the fork pretty much starts, if you think about this as halfway, the fork pretty much comes in from the right, halfway between the bottom and the halfway point. And we're aiming pretty close to the corner. A little bit below the corner is what we're aiming for to find the gesture of our fork. And there it is. All right. Similar, the spoon comes in about a quarter of the way down from the top, or between halfway and the top. And we're aiming pretty close to the corner, the bottom right corner. So just above it.
Now, since you're using charcoal, you have to be pretty light with those pencil applications, right?
And I want them to show up for you guys, but I want to make sure I can erase them completely. So we won't really get much darker than that with our pencil drawing. All right. Oh my gosh. My reference screen is turned off. Oh,
Uh-oh.
I'm panicking already.
Well, if I could pause the timer, I'd
It wants
do
me
it.
to put a code in.
I can't pause the timer. Are you serious?
And you know
Yeah.
what? I messed it up. All right, I'm in. All right, it's cool. I can see my reference.
Is the code your password?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
And it's worse than that. It's just my name.
Well, speaking of names, I'm looking at the chat box, and people are complaining that YouTube apparently has changed their names.
I saw that. Yeah,
And
Jan was talking about
I see that because, we know Jan, and now he is not Jan anymore. He is the Argnono or something like that.
Jan the Argonaut. Not quite Argonaut.
It's
Argonano.
No. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but
yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Why that has changed.
and Karina. Yeah, this is difficult because
It's like all new
I
people.
can't call you by your names.
Right.
It's like at blah, 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 with numbers and stuff. Karina, I think, or Carrie-Anna, 66, says, Ashley, this is already starting as a great teaching lesson. I love your measuring a lot. I wonder if that's Buddy. I bet you that's
Sounds like
I bet you that's Buddy.
It
That
could
sounds
be.
like the way Buddy types,
Well, thank you if it's Buddy, whomever you may be, and just kind of working on either side of this line. There's a little bit of a distortion to the spoon, I know, and so I'm assuming there is with the fork too. So the fork felt a little narrow.
Yeah.
So it looks like I've got more on this side. I think we're gonna go with that and then see how things land.
I like the way you're starting out with broad shapes here.
Right. And forget about those tines for now. And I think I'm going to split the tines up by actually drawing the space between them, because there's 4 of them, but there's 3 empty spaces. So I can find one empty space right in the middle. And hopefully that'll get us off to a good start when we look for those tines. Right now, our spoon, and the spoon's handle width is about the same when we come into the picture plane as the fork. So they are matching.
Somebody's asking, have you ever created a live broadcast using digital painting or drawing on your phone or tablet, like using an app like Sketchbook? I find it very relaxing and it saves a lot of paper. It does save a lot of paper. And the answer is yes. We've done at least 2 live lesson series, which are now called classes. One with Procreate that I drew, and then you did a series on painting in Photoshop.
Yeah, I did a Photoshop using the mixer brushes once.
Yeah.
And that was a question about the live classes, not getting sketchy.
Yeah, this is not Gettin Sketchy. We haven't done anything on Gettin Sketchy. In fact, Gettin Sketchy probably would not give us the amount of time that we would need. You know, it would look pretty sketchy at the end of 45 minutes.
Well, and I would only get an inch done.
Right.
Because I zoom in.
Right, exactly. That's the way I am with the digital painting, too. It seems like the digital painting's probably pretty easy to overwork. I was all in to digital painting for quite a while when it was brand new. And it's still a great medium to work with. But there's something about using an actual medium on a paper or on canvas or whatever surface that I still really am drawn to.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. It's the slickness. I like Procreate, but I've found that I do like to put that paper surface over my screen to draw on because of the friction. It does make it feel more like drawing. And in Photoshop, the drawing tablets, I use a side-by-side tablet, and it's got a little friction to it, so it's a little more similar. But you're right, Matt. I still like the paper. Still like using physical materials. I'm a material.
You're a material girl, aren't
boy.
You? Or material boy, yeah.
Yeah. All right,
but there's not a material boy song, you know.
No, this doesn't sound the same. All right, let's see. Those look pretty good. Pretty good at shapes. I'm looking at this empty space to help me to gauge. I feel pretty good about that. And there's a timer, so let's keep going. All right, so we'll go ahead and remove. We can still make little adjustments to our contours as we need to throughout the charcoal portion of our drawing. So maybe I got a little darker than I planned, but let's go ahead and remove the gesture or the straight lines that we drew these around. That was really helpful, though, having the straight lines in there so I could compare one side of my objects to another. Now, I feel like I've got too much. All right, well, let's go back to drawing on the spoon. I feel like I got a little too much spoon.
Buddy says, Matt, I recently did the lovebirds from the last season in gouache, and they really turned out great. Thanks. That's fantastic, buddy. Glad to hear that. Love gouache.
Okay, just a little adjustment to where the spoon meets the stem. Oh gosh, these symmetric objects, they can drive you crazy. And they're nearly symmetric in the photo. I was pretty close when I took the picture, and so the lens might have distorted our reference just a touch. We can keep it, or we could try to fix it in the drawing. All right, let's go ahead and try to find our tines. And let's see, I think probably they're going to come down to about here. So we'll put a mark to aim at. Have you ever looked at the evolution of forks through history, Matt?
Yes, I often frequent that and look it up and study it.
You too.
Yes.
I'm glad I'm not alone.
Yes, I love the history of utensils.
Yeah, so boy, I would love
it's one of my passions.
Well, I have in fact done that.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and boy, forks looked so cool in the Middle Ages. You know, they started with just two tongs, more like a tiny little what do you call it? What do you use when you barbecue? The poker.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
just two of them. Looked a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, but in the Middle Ages, they probably weren't worrying about scooping up food or shoveling it. You know, they were probably just sticking it and putting it in their mouth.
They were just sticking it.
And I mean, my gosh, what work for a blacksmith? I guess is that who made the?
I guess so.
The two-pronged forks.
Yeah, I would think so.
Well, you should know. You said you've researched this.
It's funny you bring up blacksmith. I was looking at forges the other day.
Of course.
I think I'm going to buy one.
Are you going to make a sword?
Yes.
I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew that you were going to make a sword.
Right,
you made bow and arrow one time.
I made a bow and arrow, and I was going to try to make a flintlock pistol next, but I've decided to skip ahead to the sword and push the flintlock pistol off. It's actually a little more technically difficult than I imagined it would be once I started doing a little research.
Now, a flintlock pistol, is that an actual firearm?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like think Pirates of the Caribbean, those types of pistols.
Okay.
It's not the first. It's a little more, they were simpler. The flintlock is sort of like a second evolution of the pistol. So I think I'm going to skip ahead to sword.
Sounds like the flintlock pistol, it would be a little bit of a dangerous endeavor.
Well, it's mostly wooden, so I'd mostly just be carving a stock, and then I could take some flintlock parts I already have and just cast them, but make my own parts from a cast. So, but anyway, I'm going to skip ahead. And so that I don't cost myself too much money, I'm going to buy 2 small forges and just line them up and put them together so that they'll be about 4 feet long. That's the plan. That's the new plan.
The swords are going to be 4 feet long?
No, but the forge will be.
Oh, the forge
the sword has to have a tang on it, which is another 8 inches besides the blade. So we'll see if this materializes, but my son's excited about that, about the prospect. All right. Now.
Yeah, Jen says, Oma, have you talked to your wife about this? Because it sounds a bit dangerous.
No, I looked this stuff up.
I think
after
Ashley
she
making
falls
a sword
asleep.
sounds a bit dangerous.
I think the making will be more dangerous than the actual sword in my hands.
No, I was thinking the other way around.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You with a sword in your hands could be dangerous.
Could be. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Here's the person that calls when we go live. I don't know if you guys can hear that. Yeah.
So we're doing pretty
just to
good.
make this exciting, I'm going to go over there and see who it is.
Let's see who it is. All right, I'm going to clean these edges up a little bit. And I don't know, I might have exaggerated it too much. I did try to put a touch of a curve on the end of these 3 empty spaces.
It was a wireless phone call from Alberta, Canada, with no name. I guess the Canadians don't...
they don't have to
their names
identify
or
themselves.
something.
They have a...
Yeah, Buddy says, OMG, Matt, yes, we can hear it. What a terrible person you have to deal with. Well, it's probably not a terrible person. It's probably just somebody who doesn't know what's going on. And also, I could probably turn the ringer off.
since it happens almost every Wednesday.
So who's the terrible person here? Is it really the caller or is it really just me?
Matt's like, I'll get Ashley. I'll leave the ringer up while he's drawing. That'll disturb him.
Susan asked, do you ever throw any of your art away? How do you decide which of the hundreds of pieces to keep when you've probably created 1,000 pieces of
Yeah,
art?
it's funny you mentioned that. I was telling one of my classes today how I throw away most of everything I draw. But that's because most of what I draw are the same lessons over and over
when I was in the classroom, I would throw those drawings.
Those aren't art.
No,
they're just lessons. And since I've drawn the same ones over and over for a new group of students each year in each course, I quit saving them.
Isn't that so fun, though, to do that?
Yeah. It is. Just ball it up.
With people in a classroom, as long as you don't have to tell somebody to sit down or be quiet or stop hitting that person. Or
right. Yeah, that part's not so fun. But it is great to do what we're doing right now, but with what we can see your faces. Yeah,
but we wish y'all were all with us in the same room.
Yeah, we do.
Which it might be a little crowded if that's the case, but it's amazing how pieces of paper can stack upon each other.
It's pretty crazy how
they really.
How it builds
you
up.
can put a lot of artwork in small spaces. I have. I guess that's a taberlet, or what is it? Those things?
Tabaret.
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 Not taberlet.
All right, there we go.
Chevrolet. I have a tabaret over there behind Ashley in the back corner of the studio, and there's probably 400 pieces of artwork in there. And that's where I keep kind of smaller pieces of artwork. Then I have another large tabaret behind me, and I probably have a couple hundred pieces of art in there. And then I have artwork framed and matted and put up in various locations, mostly within my house, but in other places too. So I don't really. I'll throw away practice sketches and things like that, but like for the stuff that we do for Gettin Sketchy, I don't think I've ever thrown any of that artwork away.
Never and these are just sketches too, but
right.
They're one-off sketches, not like the lessons that we draw in the classroom. So yeah, I've got all of them, and I keep them where they're not going to get messed up. Some are framed, but a few from Gettin Sketchy, but most are in folders.
I still have my portfolios from college.
Yeah, me too.
In fact, which that might be a good.
And you know
video
what? I go through them every once in a while. I take a little trip down memory lane.
Yeah. I have a lot of student artwork too still. Now, Buddy says, why would you use the same subjects over and over again? Wouldn't that push your abilities in the wrong direction by repetition? Buddy, what Ashley and I are talking about is when we're introducing a lesson in a classroom with students that we've never seen before, like they're taking drawing 1 or drawing 2 or something like that, we will have certain demonstrations that we'll do to teach the concepts.
Right.
And we'll use the same objects over and over again, or we'll do the same progression of things. Like I used to do a lesson on several days lesson on drawing facial features.
That's what I did
portions of
facial
the face.
proportions today.
And
I told him, I said, I have drawn this 120 times at least.
I have drawn a million eyes, I feel like.
Yeah.
But, those little sketches you do for the students.
Right. We can't skip over stuff just because we've gotten bored with it.
Right, exactly.
It's part of their education.
When I would talk about drawing with shapes, I would use a stapler a lot. I use my hand because do you still use a document camera?
Yes.
Okay, so we use a document camera, and that projects what we're seeing to the class so everybody can see. So, I'm not going to change the way that I draw a hand or the way I would draw a stapler.
The way you would teach drawing shapes. Once you've got something, you've found that it works for the students, you don't have to reinvent the wheel to teach the same concept.
And it's really helpful when you have an object that's physically there instead of a photo. So you can show them under the document camera the angle that you're looking at it, and then show how you're drawing that and what shapes you're picking out and how you're drawing different planes and so on. So that's why we would repeat the same things over and over again. And they were all a little bit different, but I could draw
a swing line stapler without looking at it, probably with my left hand, just from familiarity.
A stapler is actually a really good subject to learn how to draw with shapes and also how to understand different planes. It doesn't, I'm sure in your mind you're thinking a stapler.
It's beautiful.
Come on.
It's beautiful. There's a reason they haven't changed it since the 60s.
I'm not going to say it's beautiful.
No,
like Ashley.
It's a great object.
Ashley's into these little objects and things.
That's true. I like industrial design. I'd like to design my own fork and spoon, one day.
Well, you can do that. You can design your own fork and spoon. You can have a 2-prong fork.
And then I can go out to my forge that I don't have yet.
I bet you would design a spoon that just has half of it there.
And just tilt it to keep the milk in.
Make it a challenge for people to use it.
And that would be. All right, so I've started with the shadows, and we're going to go ahead and blend these out a little bit. And of course, they'll get darker because the gray of the paper will start to get covered up. And then you can see I haven't drawn them all the way out where you see them underneath here. The reason I'm starting with the shadows is so I can get some shading behind the tines of the fork and not have to worry about messing up the drawing of the fork. So that's why we've started in the background a little bit.
Well, Jan has given us a super chat. Thank you, Jan.
Appreciate that support.
The creepy cheering Matt and Ashley also appreciates that. His comment is, medieval eating utensils was almost all about knives.
About knives.
Wink emoji. Yes, I'm sure it was mostly knives. Sure. I'm sure the people eating with forks were like the upper echelon.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Those were the people
Pretty
who made it all the
sophisticated.
way to the age of 24 without dying from the Black Plague.
They attributed it to their.
Lisa
Fine
said she really enjoyed the tape dispenser drawing.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. There's an example.
There you go. That was great.
The tape dispenser is a good challenging subject. Got transparency.
It was.
Lots of different planes. Some more rectangular, some curvy. Trail Walker says, I'm 71 and sold my first pieces 2 years ago to my son's meal. A rep from an art school came to my house
awesome.
when I was 15 because he wanted me to join them, but Dad said no.
Dad.
I'm sorry your dad said no, but yeah, that stinks. I'm sorry. But the life you had may have never happened, and the life you're living now may not have happened if he said yes.
That's
so
true.
hopefully
Could have
the
an
life that
accident
you
in the
have
meal.
lived thus far and the life that you have left is more fulfilling than what could have been.
All right, there we go.
Shadow looks good already.
Looking good, and I'm going to just use what's on the end of here a little bit now.
Already pushing that illusion
There's
that
quite a bit of
the
this.
fork and spoon are three-dimensional, coming off the surface without any information on either one of the shapes
Without
yet.
even drawing the fork and spoon. Let's see. How we doing? 24 minutes. It's okay. I think we're okay. I know we've
Yeah, I think you're making pretty good
20
time.
minutes so far, and we haven't touched our subject, but I think they'll go quick. They don't take up a whole lot of space. So we're going to deepen our shadow a little bit underneath our spoon. Stomping it out. Put a little bit of, just a tiny bit of information down here as we go. We may return to keep doing that in this bottom left corner. And there's something to get dirty. And I think we need a little bit more. A little bit more up here.
Trail Walker says
Pretty subtle.
her experience or his experience, I can't really see the image very well. Says it didn't deter me. If anything, it sparked it to go ahead. Very good. That is the correct attitude.
That's right.
Oh, no. Jan says maybe it was the angle, not the camera specifically. Don't tell me that, Jan. You don't know what I've gone through. You do not know all the adjustments. Now, I will tell you that the lens makes a big difference, too. So the lens and camera body have that were previously at this angle, the angle you're looking at right now, have been moved to the overhead camera. Okay. So this particular lens here on this camera, same camera body as the one that's above. And the lens on this is a 50 millimeter film camera, manual exposure, manual everything. So that lens obviously produces a very beautiful image. Same with the overhead. The overhead also has a lens that's designed for filming and video over photography. I do like the look of this specific camera body on the overhead better. I'm definitely going to keep it. So there's many factors involved, but this lens right here is one of my favorites. I mean, it does a really beautiful job, but it also has kind of a narrow range of focus, as most manual film lenses do.
All right, we have a mark on the spoon. Try to be careful with this one as we go. So now I'm going to look for more black or close to black edges where we may find them.
Oh no, Jan says, Matt, then your beautiful images are sent to Google, which compresses everything into pulp, but oh well. Oh no. So it's not looking very good on there? That's not good. Hopefully you can still see everything. Yeah, they do have to compress.
It to pulp.
They do have to compress the video. I mean, that's something that's unavoidable.
Otherwise, they won't load. So right now, we're just following our pencil lines, but varying the pressure and the line width in places. So there's some line quality that we have to consider and try to capture. For example, this needs to be a little thicker down here, close to the edge of the paper, and taper back to almost nothing in the bend. Okay.
But he says, Ashley, it's unbelievable how the fork and knife are jumping out from the paper.
They are starting to lift up a little bit. Like you just reach underneath there. And I'm going to use my sandpaper and just resharpen this a little bit. So you don't see any drawing happening. That's why. Okay, got a nice sharp tip again. There we go. I don't know if it's a black edge, and it's at least a gray edge on the bottom edge of each of these tines. I've almost lost my pencil in here where I did smudge over it. Now, on the way out here, Matt, I realized that I didn't have my reading glasses, which I like to call drawing glasses. And I thought, oh no, this is going to be tough. But they were in my pocket. Thank goodness. Otherwise, I would be trying to make those lines from really far away just so I could see it. So thank goodness for that. All right. You know what? We're going to actually have to a little bit more gray between these in places for the shadows. We could have smudged more in that stage, but it's okay. Because I've got my tiny stump. There are places in the fork and spoon that we won't touch. You know, the gray of the paper will do the work. Now, the photograph was actually taken on top of a piece of black paper. But if you've ever photographed over black paper, you know, it doesn't necessarily read as black. So it's pretty gray in the photograph, even though it was a piece of black paper originally. Just a little more smudging. There we go. We're going to keep going with the black wherever we think we can before we switch to the white. And I like to work in a way sometimes that the black and white medium, they don't even touch each other. Or they may bump against each other, but there's really no mixing. So I'm looking for some darker gray areas now. There's a little sheen right through here, a little highlight. So I'm going to skip over that and grab that as a gray when I smudge stick this out a little bit. And This is kind of an irregular shape. It doesn't make it all the way to the top edge of our fork. That makes it pretty close, but I'm going to leave a little gap there. I'm going to have some gray right here in the neck. Guess it's a neck.
Okay, Buddy asks, when drawing grays with charcoal pencils, does it make a difference if you start layering with the black or the white?
Yeah, I guess it does.
It does.
Yeah, I mean, I put 2 layers of charcoal down here, smudged it out, and then I did one, smudged it a little bit, and then added some more, just to keep gradually working towards something that's closer to black. And we may go back to those shadows. They read really black on the feed, so we may not. It's a little bit lighter in person, so we may not need to do that.
And you can't cover black charcoal with white charcoal completely. So
that's right.
You do have to be mindful of the areas where your strongest highlights are. And Ashley's kind of working the opposite direction of how some people might work. Some people might work with the lighter values and work the other way.
Yeah.
I tend to work somewhere with the middle values and then push them out both directions. But you do have to think about where your highlights are going to be, and of course your shadows too. But black charcoal is a little bit easier to cover over white charcoal than the opposite. And Brenda says, I see that's a general's pencil. Is it just black charcoal or anything special? I just got here. Just
a general's black charcoal pencil, and it's the 2B or medium hardness.
Jen asked, don't mix them because of the contrast needed. No, you can mix them. I'm sure Ashley is going to have some gradations.
There will be very little mixing. I don't like to mix them much. Sometimes depends on the gray paper. Sometimes the mixture is a different looking gray than the paper.
Yeah, it'll be cooler.
Since I'm leaving more raw paper and not covering it entirely, that's why I'm going to mix them very little. They may just mix along edges where they touch, but I'm not going to mix them together to create a gray.
Looked like you were doing a little 6-7 thing there. So my son's going to be playing in a different basketball league this year, and the team that we're going to be on, we've decided the name is going to be the 67ers.
Oh, boy. Keep it going.
Instead of the 76ers.
Oh, I get it.
We're the 67ers.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool.
Oh, okay. Trail Walker is going back and saying, Matt, I meant that I sold them to my son's mother-in-law. Okay. You put MIL like I would know that means mother-in-law. Did you know that?
No, I thought that they sold them to the mill.
That's
good.
In-laws have a 17-acre farm with Angus cows. Oh, that's very interesting. To my mother-in-law, the mill. I'm going to start calling my mother-in-law Mill.
Yeah, it's like a code word.
Or maybe
I'll know
Neil.
I'll know what you're talking about.
NIL. Okay, now we got dogs barking. It's about to get crazy around here, it sounds like.
Yeah. 12 minutes, I think we're okay.
Buddy says charcoal is on my next to grab medium list. Yeah, if you guys listen, if you have not used charcoal before or you're unsure about using it, do not fear charcoal. Charcoal is a fantastic medium, and it's a great transition medium into painting with opaque painting mediums.
Yeah.
And if we've got the charcoal drawing course over at thevirtualinstructor.com.
It's the true learning medium.
It really is.
I step it up a little bit.
Jan says the internet is TLAs all the way down. I don't know what TLAs is. I hope it's not a bad thing.
We're not down with the lingo.
I hope that's not a bad thing. I hope I didn't just say a bad thing.
Yep, your channel's going to get a strike now. All right, just looking for the dark shapes. Pretty strong darks in places. And of course, this is my phone. And those light spaces are my face and hands, but no one can tell I'm just going to keep laying this charcoal down and smudge it out because we do need to switch to white.
Okay, TLAs are 3-letter acronyms. So you used a 3-letter acronym to describe a 3-letter acronym.
That's tricky. All right, spoon's going well, I think. Let's see how it smudges out. A little bit more over here. Okay. And let's begin. Gotta keep checking my reference, keep my eyes bouncing to the reference. Put a bit of collection of irregular shapes in here. Some of these little edges will be white, so we're here to lose our shapes some. That's because of missing white, where we plan to go. There's a whole range of value missing right now. Sounds desperate up there. All right, very much lots of darkness in there. We'll see, we may have to tap some of it back. Tap a little bit back now. And let's see. Probably have a few thin dark marks in the tines, very thin. Just thin little grays. But some of this, I think, the raw paper will suffice. It'll serve us well in there. All right, and still haven't stumped out our spoon's handle. We did lay some gray in there. I was debating on whether this was the value of the paper or in fact darker, and went ahead and added a little bit. A little bit of charcoal. Looking for thin marks now. It's really little dark lowlights in places.
Okay. Trailwalker says, Matt and Ashley, what pencil or drawing tool did you each start with?
Like today? Or in life?
I think in life, maybe.
Oh, I guess pencils.
Probably started with crayon, right?
Crayons, yeah, that's right, crayons. In fact, I have a formative memory. It's a coloring page, and I credit that memory with trapping me in a life of art making. And it happened in kindergarten, and I colored a pirate. You know, you guys, if you've been on this program for very long, you know I love pirates, buccaneers, and I've colored a pirate the first day of kindergarten. And then on the last day of kindergarten, my wonderful teacher had us color another pirate, but I had forgotten about the first, and it was the same pirate. And then she showed us our coloring page from the first day of school, and I looked at how much my coloring had improved. That's what she was trying to show us, because she's a good teacher. And I thought, man, I am good at coloring. and kept drawing and coloring ever since. So I think she did that too. Well, it's probably a whole kindergarten class of artists and art teachers because of that little exercise that she did. So she developed our confidence. It was awesome. So crayons.
Yes, confidence is a really important factor in what you do with your life. Edie, I see that you asked a question. You said you asked a question all caps, and they skipped right over it as usual. The only question I've seen that you posted in here was about whether or not Ashley was going to use a blending stump or tortilla. And you asked that question, if I remember right when Ashley started blending the shadow. So I did see that question, but I figured that was answered since Ashley started using the blending stump at the same time that you asked that question.
All right, how are we doing? 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
And if I do miss your question or anything like that, it's not purposeful. not picking and choosing here. Enrique says, "Hey Matt, it is a great drawing. And can you talk more about the classes that you have after the 45-minute sketches? Are they once a week? And the subjects who chooses?
The live classes.
Enrique, I've been doing live streaming since 2012. I guess it's 2012, so 13 years. And these are live lessons. We do them once a week for an hour. And, here on Gettin Sketchy, we're doing quick drawings, 45 minutes. The live lessons are taught in series. So we work for an hour each week, but we may spend 10 to 15 or 20 hours on a drawing or painting. So they're complete finished pieces of art. And they're broadcast live just like Gettin Sketchy. But we do go a little slower. We do a little bit more instruction. It's a little bit more instruction-based instead of entertainment-based, like you're seeing here on Gettin Sketchy. And the intent, of course, is to show you how to create a finished piece of artwork from start to finish. So I don't know how many series we have, but we've only missed a few weeks. We miss for like Christmas and other holidays, or if Ashley and I are on vacation or out of town or anything like that. But so we don't miss very often.
When I get sick, sometimes Matt takes my place and still does a lesson. So it's pretty consistent.
It's pretty consistent, but it is, we do these Gettin Sketchies in seasons, but the live lessons aren't like that. We do those continually every week. And they're for members at thevirtualinstructor.com. And then all of those lessons are recorded and stored on the website. So you can go back and watch any of the ones that we've ever done. And you can watch how the quality has improved over
a decade of live lessons.
Yeah, and right now we kind of rotate through mediums and subject matter. Right now I'm doing the live lesson series, and we are doing a pastel drawing of a Dalmatian. And the real root of this series is it's a white dog on a white background. And we're talking about how we can get more color out of our neutrals, since there's a lot of neutrals in that image. There's blacks with the spots on the dog, and then the dog itself is white, and then the background's white. So you want to get color out of your neutrals, and that's kind of what we're talking about as we're creating this drawing together. And tonight we'll be continuing that process. And man, this fork and spoon looks how metallic
that looks. Boom.
Looks amazing.
That is awesome.
Really looks great. And I was thinking about using charcoal next week, but I don't think I can do that now since you used charcoal this week. So
I'm sorry.
Well, it's okay. I'll
push it off.
That means I don't have no idea what I'm going to do next week, but that's okay. So you can go over to thevirtualinstructor.com and click on the live tab at the top. And that will take you to a page that has our live lesson series on there with a link to the live stream, and then all of our past lessons and current series. There's also a tab there where you can watch TVITV, which is a 24-hour live stream of members-only content. So you can watch don't get to pick and choose what you watch. It's a live stream, but you can watch the featured courses and live lesson series, lessons from those courses and live lesson series that are broadcast 24 hours a day. And then also, you can watch Gettin Sketchy over at thevirtualinstructor.com. So we're simulcasting over there as well. I'm not sure if anybody does that or if everybody watches it on YouTube, but those options are there too. So a lot of live stuff going on. Buddy says, speechless, Ashley, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, we were missing this value range all along, and boy, what a difference! What a difference it makes to get this white in. I love saving it till the end. It makes it fun. Makes it fun to see it come alive. I'm just looking for the whitest spots, but there's some little gray places in here too. 13 seconds. This was almost a perfectly timed drawing. Almost. We'll just go over by a touch.
Edie asks, is anyone else being interrupted by commercials? It's happening several times already. Yes, there is advertising on YouTube. And we do that because this is a free broadcast, and that's part of it. So if you've ever watched any videos on YouTube, I'm sure that you've seen advertisements on YouTube. That's part of the way YouTube is out there. I mean, that's how they function. Without advertisements, then YouTube wouldn't exist, and you wouldn't be able to watch anything on YouTube. So I know that is, not the most wonderful thing in the world to have to watch an ad, but it is how we have services like YouTube that you get to enjoy for free.
We're just gonna go a little longer.
Yeah, I'm sorry about the dogs. They have seen something outside and have gone crazy. Yeah. I even left for a second to go see what in the world was going on because it sounded like they were getting ready to kill somebody. Enrique says, Ashley, it's amazing the likeness. Thanks for the class.
Thank you. Thanks for being here and for watching. And I hope you're following along, or you'll make this drawing at a later date.
The time's up, but you can continue if you want. Yeah.
I was so close to getting it in the time that Matt allots me. Now I get penalized. Next week, or next time I draw, I have to start at 40 minutes. Hey, that's what we could do. If you go over, you lose time in the next drawing.
No, because I'll have to reprogram the timer every week.
Our final drawing would be like 10 minutes.
My final drawing I wouldn't have any time. I just have to do another ready-made.
Yeah. All right. All right, let's see. That's probably good. We probably call this one. Probably call this one done. I'm going to blur these edges here just a little bit.
June says the white made my silver water pop.
Yeah.
I think they mean silverware. But yeah, and it's because of the range of value. Value is the darkness or lightness of color. And when we have a full range of value, that brings us into the world of realism.
And because we weren't working on a white surface, there's very little white here at all. And that's what makes the white feel so brilliant. You gotta get rid of, if you're working on white paper, you got to get rid of almost all the white, or any white left, to be able to perform as white. It's super important. Full range of value. We were missing it most of the program. Threw it in the last 10 minutes. All right, Matt. I think this one looks really good on the feed. I think I could probably get darker in some of these shadows, but I don't really know if you'd be able to tell that much on the broadcast. So I think
Isn't that camera so much better?
I think so.
It really is. It doesn't have the same zoom capabilities,
right,
and all that stuff.
So we'll just have to get used to that.
Yeah, but it's
work around that.
It is really good.
Gosh.
Yeah. Oh, and Enrique has given us a super chat.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
How we
much,
doing on time?
Enrique.
It is 7:30
We appreciate the
just
support.
right now, so that's pretty good. Oh no, I don't think I need that. Just get rid of that. Just leave that alone. Leave it pretty bare in the back. All right. Well, I wanted to do a little more gray through here, but it was, I don't think it needs it. And we were able to spend the amount of time we needed to, I believe, on our fork and spoon. So we'll call this one complete. And should I take tape off? I don't know. I don't even think it matters.
It probably won't make too big of a difference, but you
Yeah,
can if
I
you're
didn't
willing to
really-
risk it because
Yeah.
Ashley used my ancient tape from probably
Man.
30 years ago to tape this down.
It is the stickiest tape. And I taped it on my sweatpants. I'm wearing sweatpants like 3 or 4 times before I put it on the paper.
And I used
There we
the
go.
same tape on the pastel drawing of the dog, but it's on pastel matte paper,
Oh yeah,
so it will come right
that's
off.
durable stuff. This
No
one
problem.
almost needs a border around it. Needs to draw a black line where my pencil lines were, since I almost didn't shade it off.
Well,
against
given
the
more
edges.
time, you probably would have put maybe some white charcoal
Yeah.
and some more
I would do a little work
dark
in the, in the
charcoal back
background.
there.
And who knows? Maybe I still will.
Buddy says amazing, fabulous, gorgeous.
Did tear a little paper in the corner. All right, there we go. It's free. It survived. Very good.
Well, it's really good that you didn't fork this one up.
That's a strike.
All right, guys. I think that is very well done.
Thank you.
Very
I
well
was
done.
nervous about it. I was a little nervous about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in there. A lot of things in
going
there.
on.
But
And the more I look at it, the more nuance I see, and just had to decide what to include and what to leave out.
it really does look like the neck of the fork bends up and then back down, and it really does look 3-dimensional.
I think starting with the shadows was the right way to go, because try to work those shadows in around these really sharp black and white marks. We would have messed up those black and white marks. So in this case, it was important to do the shadows first.
And Keith says, I got the tip the other day that you can use a hair dryer to weaken the tape. That's a good idea.
That's right.
Very
Yeah.
good. Very helpful.
Yeah, we don't have time for that, but ordinarily, on my own, I might have to do that. Tonight, we just had to go for it. And thankfully that, it's weird how tape gets more sticky as it gets older.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's supposed to do. So in a way, it's like wine. It gets better
It's
with
better
age.
I don't know if it's better.
If its job is to be sticky.
It gets stickier,
Yeah, it sure does.
but I guess you can get too sticky. But we can't get too sketchy around here. All right. If that's it, we'll go ahead and switch back out.
That's it.
All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed all of the festivities this evening that go along with a live broadcast. Especially the dogs, the phone calls, all of that wonderful stuff that happens. Thanks for sticking around all the way to the end if you did. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you picked up a couple of things, of course, and thanks to Ashley for creating such a wonderful, fantastic drawing. Do you have anything else for the folks there in your brilliant orange?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I wore orange because that's the colors, right? Blue
That's
and
the
orange.
colors,
So
yeah.
I try to wear something blue or something orange. Matt picked blue tonight, and I picked orange, so I think that worked out pretty well,
Right.
even though maybe I'm a little too orange. So anyway, thought it was a good drawing, a good week. I hope that you got something out of it. And otherwise, I hope you have a great week. And next week, I'll be manning the chat and reading those comments in capital letters, unless they skip by a little too fast.
Yeah, I had to look down at the shirt. You said I was wearing blue. I was like, am I wearing blue? I am wearing blue.
He gets dressed in the dark. He had no idea.
I just have a bunch of T-shirts that have nothing on them that are just different
right.
colors.
I like plain shirts.
and I can just put them on with
Yeah.
my khaki shorts and look the same every day.
Literally get dressed in the dark, and you're going to look okay when you go out.
Right, because it's going to be a colored plain T-shirt.
Right. That's how I shop as well.
All right, one more question. Enrique says, do you think that I can use a Mars Lumograph Black to do this? You can, but you got to be very careful with the white charcoal. Black charcoal is going to mix pretty easily with the white charcoal. But when you start introducing graphite, which you can, I've done plenty of drawings with graphite and white charcoal together, but you have to be very careful where you put your white. And you probably want to put the white down before you get too crazy with the graphite, because the white charcoal will not cover the graphite at all. And the Mars Lumograph black pencils, I think that they have carbon and graphite in them, if I'm not mistaken. So you want to treat them like a graphite pencil. So you just need to be mindful of where you're putting your highlights and put those down as early as possible after you've kind of blocked out where your different shapes of value are going to be. But yeah, you can certainly do that. Let's see. Yeah, the dog in the background is from the live class. Yeah, let's switch it back over there. Yeah, you can see the blurry dog in the background. Trust me, it looks way better in person and not all blue and blurred out.
It's sharp in person. It is a great lesson.
Anyway, so complementary color shirts. Absolutely. We totally did that on purpose. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Next week, I have no idea what I'm going to do. I was thinking about charcoal, but then I'm sitting there watching Ashley draw, and I was like, Ashley's using charcoal. It like dawned on me halfway through the broadcast.
Yeah.
That you're using charcoal. I can't use charcoal next week.
Gray paper, you could change the surface, change the support. I mean, both of us usually draw with charcoal at least probably once each season. That's a staple.
Yeah, I'll use charcoal at some point during the season, but it won't be next week. I feel like I want to do something in color, but I've already used pastels, so I gotta come up with something else that's color, that's quick. We'll see.
Decisions.
Right. Well, we'll see you next week. And with that, we're going to go ahead and sign out for this evening because we got to get ready for the next show.
Sure, it's almost time.
All right. Good night, everybody.